Mm. Think it's gonna work. Mm. Mhm. 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 Hello. How's the sound? How's the video? Hmm. I'm delayed. Hmm. I don't know how it's gonna go. But here it goes. I gotta, I gotta buy me another. What is it called? 3.5 millimeter mm, female to mm, Type C male. Correct? Hopefully with a DAT, DAT, uh, at the near the Type C component. Perhaps that gives it more, amplifies it a little bit. Yeah. Uh-huh. Let's see. 192, was it megahertz? Oh, my dog is pooping. Is this working? Oh, okay. Yeah. Here I am. I can see myself live. I'm gonna like myself. I wake up and think clearly. Yep, my dog pooped. Well, it's not my dog. It's the dog that I'm walking. So you gotta pick up the dog poop in this Wawa bag. Mm, mm. Uh-oh, this is gonna be tricky. How am I gonna do this? Could try this. Hmm. I don't have the official doggy poop bag with me. Mm, I'm using hmm, a container for what is it? What kind of salad did I get this morning? Kind of a Mediterranean pasta salad. It's a container that's like 3 by 3 inch, maybe 4 by 4 inch. Hmm. Well, I picked it up. Okay, so welcome, friends. Oh, I'm sideways. I see sideways. Okay, here I am. Oh, I'm going to share. Mhm. Enemies for my enemies, friends, and kind mothers. Going to share an email that I got. Hmm. Let's see. So, what's the topic of the email? Oh, it's verse. Mhm. Let's see if I can bring it up. Here's the email. Verse 5 of the 100 verses. No, no, it's not 100 verses for training the mind. It's 100 verses for knowing thyself. You could say it's actually called 100 verses of self instruction. Oh, oh no, no. Let's see. Okay, good. So, so here's verse 5. Moving right along. What was verse 1, 2, 3, and 4 about? Well, how could I summarize it? I guess it was like getting some definitions right. Uh, no, maybe not that. Maybe it's asking, hmm, asking one to, encouraging one to, could this be considered bhakti yoga? Hmm, to do a little bit of renouncing, but also to be hmm, be mindful of what's happening in our mind, in our speech, in our thinking, when we think about ourselves, ourselves. What's going on? And a little bit about consciousness. Yes, quite a bit. I'm still struggling to integrate it all. What's happening? So there's the people that aren't thinking about these things, which which is every all of us. We're not always thinking about these things. So what are we thinking about? We're thinking about worldly stuff, worldly things. So we're worldly people because we're asleep. So worldly people having slept, wake and think many thoughts. Wake up and think clearly. Wake and think many thoughts. Ever wakefully witnessing all this shines an unlit lamp. Oh, this is a mysterious phrase, an unlit lamp. Mhm. So I'm going to say that it's a metaphor for our inner little light. Let the little light shine. I'm going to let my little light shine. That song. Uh, hmm. Or maybe it's by being mindful or wakefully witnessing what's going on. All this shines an unlit lamp. So maybe by paying attention more and more, it lights an unlit lamp. Oh, so the lamp within us is unlit. So by paying attention, maybe it sparks something. It starts to light a fire. This is another way of interpreting it. I'll have to ask Gayatri Nara- Narayanam about this. Precious beyond words, it never fades. Ever seeing this, one should go forward. Mhm. That could that one should go forward means maybe that means continue as you are. You're doing good. You've lit your unlit lamp, so keep being mindful. So there's about 5 of us students left taking this course. Maybe there were 20, and so little by little they gave up. So there's 5 left after maybe 10 weeks or more because there's a holiday break here and there, maybe. Well, since November, say. No, actually, when did it start? Yeah, I think it started around then. So it's a little behind another class. So I got 2 classes that's studying the 100 verses of self-instruction, the Atmopadesha Shatakam. That's the Sanskrit word, uh, Sanskrit title of this text. So we're looking at the 5th verse, verse 5. So this was verse 5. So now the students are they've looked at the verse and looked at a commentary on it, and so here's the the write up on it, the response to it. So from Shelley, uh, let's see what she says. So worldly people often feel the weight of the world on their shoulders. From a historic perspective, people who found themselves in deep thought day and night were called mad or crazy. They change. No, they consume themselves thinking about conflicts and change, yet others saw them as crazy. I see them as people who spend time in the searching mind, looking for answers to ideas that others would disregard. Hmm. So I think we're all a little crazy in that sense. We're always looking for answers to ideas that we think others disregard. Maybe everyone is thinking this way. So that's kind of nice. Maybe some people have found some answers, but perhaps finding those answers and then applying them to life generates more questions. Hopefully, I don't know. It seems like it's a it's a rat race of searching. So, but the guru reminds us that letting go of the ego will transform us into a direct and personal relationship with the absolute. Oh man, there's that word again, ego. I'm still trying to figure out what that means. Ego. Letting go of the ego will transform us into a direct and personal relationship with the absolute. So I guess we could say that letting go of the ego is letting go of self cherishing and self grasping ignorance. Maybe that's the way to. And so by doing that, it transforms us into a direct and personal relationship with the absolute. Hmm. Okay. So wow, that's profound. It is imperative to live our lives and see the duality between wakefulness and sleep. Hmm. Is it literal sleep or a sleepness while being physically awake and doing stuff? Is there a wakefulness that is more awake than a regular wakefulness? Uh, uh, hmm, Conventional wakefulness. Is that the right word? A conventional wakefulness? Okay. I often find that many people, while awake, remain asleep. Okay, moving forward, envisioned and surrounded by light allows one to develop that unitive consciousness. Hmm. In other words, that direct connection to our creator, which is a real possibility, although many would argue that it is not. Mhm. Direct connection to our creator. That's very good. So now Deepanjali says, it is really reassuring to know that what eliminates myself in my world is a changeless witnessing consciousness. We are asked to understand that all that which stands out as separate entities are actually one. This, of course, must be an experiential awareness rather than a piece of knowledge. I did try to see whether I can feel the unity within my world deep inside. Although I can conceive of such a unity in my mind, living in that unity is another ballgame. I think it changes your worldview completely. I know of a person who has acted in a very unkind way to one of my close friends and made life miserable. Hmm. Okay. I developed hard feelings for that person. But then guru is reminding me that she is just the light shining. He is just an integral part of the witnessing consciousness. Then I am able to overcome the visceral visceral bias against that person. Rather, I can act in a kind manner towards him, her. The suggested morning exercise about expanding out and then retracing back to deep insight is very powerful one. Okay, Pramita. Gradually, this journey trans. Oh, Pramita, nothing. Pranjyoti. Gradually, this journey transcends the material world. Many questions arise. What is the dream state, waking state, and the awakened state? Will I ever reach that light? My meditation have always been on light and the illumination, little understanding, the disclosure of barriers. While studying that alone for my thesis, only narrowing on the self and the verses related to self, this verse is actually the interlink. Long way to go. This life is not enough. But reading all the reviews, I get a 360 view. Not much to say this time. In gratitude to all here and Nancy Ma. Okay, from Girija. I love the meditation prescribed on waking up and have experienced it during the weekly meditations with Auntie Nancy, and one of my favorites. Feel like my whole self is brightened up along with the world. Brought a lot of positivity in me whenever I am down and made me face the fears and challenges life offers. I do get caught up in life's mundane activities with no with no value to anyone. However, I am now conscious of the same and try to break free. I try to find alternate activities and invest in time reading, studying, etc. In the time of adversity, I also sit still in silence with a blank mind, and a few minutes of this silence helps me move ahead with resilience. I hope, pray that I don't have a rebirth after this life on earth. I hope and pray. Wow. How do you hope and pray? How does one pray not to have a rebirth after this life on earth? Hmm. I, in my case, I'm hoping and praying that I do have many rebirths in the service of others as bodhisattvas. Uh, or I could make to make my last rebirth to be a Buddha that can come back as a bodhisattvas. How's that? That would still be, what kind of rebirth would that be? A controlled rebirth. Thanks to the online studies with Auntie Nancy on and in gratitude. Okay, from Shashi Kumar. So people in ignorance, forgetting self, take or act what they see in this world as true, immersed in worldly affairs or activities. But away from all this illusions, the illuminating light Brahma never comes into existence or getting destroyed. This truthfulness into existence, this truthfulness must be in our consciousness. Then only the soul should leave the body. Brahma itself illuminating boundless knowledge. Sleeping and waking, two sides of our consciousness. Even when we are awake, we are having the quality of being half asleep in absence of proper alertness. In complete sleep, only darkness and conscious mind only remains. Conscious mind only remains. How this cover has affected the Atma is not to be a matter of self-analysis or to be thought over. To clearly have the secret of this, to uncover the blanket and feel the real objects behind it. The real object behind it. From our experience, one thing can be very clear. The darkness felt in deep. Let me throw this over here. It's annoying. Let me put this like this. Okay. Oh, no. The darkness felt in deep sleep only create conceptual mind and universal feeling when we completely awake. That's why all universal feelings are only the waking from deep sleep or due to ignorance or avidya. Ignorance come out of our unconscious mind and we succumb to it many a time. Maya plays its role in many ways to show the real worldly objects. Like in little light, a tree stump is felt as a ghost or evil by a worldly man. And gets frightened. But in reality, the tree stump has neither any effect of this nor change due to this. It remains as it is, forever shining in reality. In reality, the basic things remain the same, illuminating, shining light as ever. The world is ever changing. Sometimes sorrow, ups and downs, mistakes and illusions. This is what Narayana Guru expressed as Ula Karu Rangi Una Arnu Cinta Chayum. In the morning meditation, I am trying to bring the glory light to the heart, but cannot expand it as such. But still practicing and trying to come to a different level as suggested. That was from Shashi Kumar. He probably knows Malayam. From Shirley, the common people wake up in the morning, do the cyclical work in the daytime, and do rest, sleep at night. And the energy flows. Even though we are taking rest, thousands of thoughts arise, one by one, without any reason it comes. Some of them we like, some are to be done, some are gratefulness, some are fearing. These are all conscious. Someone is observing them. The observer is called the lamp in this verse. This is the priceless lamp. We see everything with the help of light. Oh, interesting. Hmm. First verse, we saw the Karu. Second verse, the sun. Third verse, the ocean. Fourth verse, the knowledge. And in this verse, the priceless lamp. All are the same absolute. Hmm. We have to bow down, seek, find the oneness, and merge into it. Here, every activity, all activities are clearly observed by someone that is inside us. So while doing or living our livelihood, we must be aware and responsible and careful. We are obeying the God by whatever we do. Our life is the directions of the divine. It is unchanging. Witnessing all the changes. The prana in our body is actually the divine light, and it is the observer. So we have to live a life according to Dharma. Every moment, keep in mind the truth. Even the sun or supreme light has an eye in it. We should not cut dead or ignore that watcher or the observer who watches all our thoughts and actions. Keep it in our mind. One should transform the life and move ahead. And everyone can lead a sublimated, legitimate life in this complex modern world. Mohan, out of the 100 verses, train training of the Mopadesha Shatakam, I am now in the fifth compartment. While traveling in it, I could understand the people throughout the world sleep, wake, think, various thoughts. In every thought and action, in all these thoughts and actions, there lies a trace of divinity. Out of contemplation, one can negate the impurities from those thoughts and actions. Homo sapiens genetically have 23 pairs of chromosomes. They can interact and express these feelings through language and actions, unlike other animals. Guru says such kinds of humans can attain or reach the core by withering negative qualities and pulling positive qualities. How is it possible? Guru throws light out of through deep meditation to give answers to the complex questions. Mm. So the Guru recommends through deep meditation, generate a light, give you answers to these questions. Just like the sun gives light to in every thought and action, humans, the absolute is within. It is as that of an eye in the light or sun in a constant or the sun in a constant form without closing the eyelid. The light or the absolute is inherent with the fetus when he's in the mother's womb. Coming out as he grows up, he is influenced by the actions, thoughts, and outer world. They are a mixture of both good and bad things. The divinity is eclipsed one over the other by actions and thoughts till his death. But at his countdown, he wishes to attain the absolute. Then it would be too late. This is the usual thing with the general public. The sun is in the void, where there's an eye in the sun watching the watcher. The person in the sun and the person within are equated to constitute the central unitive, absolute without prejudice of the subjective, objective or conceptual. So the absolute is without prejudice of the subjective, the objective, or the conceptual. The eye above is watching the watcher from here below, who is caught in everyday necessities of personal life. As described in previous paragraphs, contemplation becomes strictly established only when the multiplicity of interests which regulate activities and thoughts of humans, absorbed and united into a single bundle of what master interest proper to the absolute way. If we were to distinguish this master tendency at the core of life as the vertical, then the plurality of interests that's succeeding one and another in our life, ordinarily clashing, displacing one another for occupation of the center of the stream of consciousness, might be called the horizontal factors. The plurality of interests, though arising one by one from the desires or instinctual hungers that cannot be wholly satisfied, is the enemy of contemplation. This does not mean, however, killing out or cut dead the legitimate joys of life, but in and through all interests, a master interest or the divinity must always be preserved. All the actions and thoughts should undergo sublimation, contemplation, and reach a unitive interest. With a slight stretch of methodological insight or intuition, darkness can easily be imagined as being capable of becoming positive again, and by process of negation itself. Knowledge can prevail by double negation as well as double assertion. So, in conclusion, I wish to pen the innumerable actions, thoughts, etc. for people should be filtered and then alloyed and ornamented by the absolute. Then the earth would be a beautiful garden to all. And here's from that was by Mohan. His his, his English is a little bit needs a little bit of fixing, but his thoughts are very good. Well, what he's written, maybe sometimes there's a if you processed it through Grammarly, it might find better ways of saying things. I don't know. so, so I tried to fix it as I read along. So here's from Haido, Yang Pao. That would be me. Hello, friends, enemies, and strangers, and kind mothers. Vidya and avidya. There's vidya, that's knowledge. And it seems to be going into avidya and into non-knowledge. And that's stressful and tiresome. Kierkegaard was saying something like that, but I was paraphrasing it as three modes. So there's the aesthetic of following your bliss, the limiting factor of ethics, and the leap of faith. It's sort of a yin-yang-ish kind of thing. Avidya arises from vidya. Why? Perhaps for balance. I don't know. So now there's consciousness. Let's take a look at that. So could there be consciousness without an object to be conscious of? It's like the $20 million question. There's a book on that. Well, and I have a friend who's a retired mathematics professor. He recently published a book, and it's available on Amazon, and I ordered it. But I'll be reading it through it. But will I be reading it through? Will I be reading through it? I don't know. What? Which kind of books are harder? These classic spiritual texts such as the Gita, the Yoga Sutras, the Atmo, etc., or a math book such as the one I ordered, titled Introduction to Geometric Algebra, or something like that. think the Gita and the like are harder. Which is harder amongst those, the Gita or the Atma? I think the Atma may be harder. But how could a mathematics book solve the problem of consciousness? I don't know, but nothing else has. There's a book on physics of immortality. It does carry a lot of mathematics because it's trying to prove our immortality. So I suggested to my mathematics friend that we need to come up with a mathematics for consciousness. I don't know. Perhaps the equation ends up being something like E equals mc squared, but with different variables. Perhaps C equals G over E, where C is consciousness, G is God, and E is ethics. But allow me to think out loud about consciousness and whether it could be imagined as something always shining. Perhaps that's what the purpose of the exercise is for, to imagine it shining out from one's heart. So there's objects and there's a sense of consciousness for each of the senses. And the sense organs are like the resistors in a circuit. God is coincidence. So G over E is omniscience limited by our ethics. If we increase our ethics, we are reducing our consciousness. That sounds, so consciousness is inversely related to ethics. That sounds intuitively wrong. Don't we want ethics in place to be like the soil for flourishing? So wouldn't more ethics, more soil produce more consciousness? Expanding consciousness or higher consciousness? Actually, it is too much ethics, which prevents the flow of love. So this Sunday, there was a purification practice at my center. So how did that work out for me? Well, it's a long Sanskrit mantra to learn and practice visualization, including its who's light, but also the gunk. I've been practicing it a little off and on, and I almost have it, and I have resolved to do some Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me, and I love you. Thank you. Thank you on myself and others. I was listening to this philosophical meeting on Zoom. There was some discussion about personhood in God. I asked the question about the absolute Brahman and the ego and the ego. Just more stuff for me to meditate. In commentary for it, there is an astonishing note, first to an Upanishad, as saying that those who are attached to transcendental ideas live in even greater darkness. I don't get it. Like, I don't get so many other ideas of the commentary. Perhaps that's a sign of my attachment to transcendental ideas. I need to spend more time reading and studying and rereading and meditation too. So this is from Nancy. Whew, I gotta get going. Hmm. I'm gonna stop here. I gotta go. Let's see. So I hope you liked it. Let's see if I can get back to Zoom. And I'm going to disconnect from sharing. And I'm gonna say bye. And I'll dedicate, may all beings be happy, be free from suffering, and all that stuff. Maintain their happiness. And yes, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all. Thank you.